Hello, my name is Ryan Lee, and in this video I'll be showcasing my solutions to the Open Source Development Assignment 1. So here at the beginning of my code, I have commented out my lab professor, which is Reza, my full name, student ID, and a explanation for the function down below. So here we have the menu page function. This prints out these 5 options, or tasks rather, to the console. And it'll be very important and it'll be called on many times in the functions down below. Here I made 2 empty arrays. This one, employees info. This array will be storing all the employees info and numerous employees and all their respective infos about themselves. Here is the item info, same thing, similar. They'll be holding all the information on numerous items and their respective descriptions. These 2 are global variables that I'll be calling upon and using, and they'll be changing as the code progresses. Next up are the input validation functions. So for this one right here, get valid input, this function accepts one parameter, the prompt message, and it utilizes a while loop. While true, user input is equal to input prompt message, the argument that's passed from the beginning previously. This prompts the user to input whatever. If the user input if it's a string and not null, anything but a null value, it will return the user input and exit the loop entirely. But if not, if it's a null value that's been entered, this message will be printed back to the console. Input cannot be empty, please try again, and it will return to the start of the loop, and it'll start prompting the user for again until an appropriate value has been inputted. Next is the get valid number function. Again, this function accepts only one argument. While true, user input is equal to input prompt message. Again, it asks the user for a value, an input. And here's the conditional statement. If user input is not, basically this means if it's not null, and user input is a numeric. So if the string passed from the input, if it's a number, then return this int user input. This converts the string into a integer value. So it just switches up the data type. So if both conditions are met, then it will return the user input as an integer value. If not, then this message will be printed back to the console. Please enter a number, and the loop will revert back to the top again, and then it'll prompt the user for an appropriate input until one is submitted. The next function is the get valid type function. This time it accepts two arguments. One is the actual message itself, and the second is types. For types, usually what you want to input is an array that holds the values of accepted inputs that you would like for this function. So again, we use a while loop. While true, if user input is prompt message, it prompts the user for an input. If the user input is basically not null and user input is in types, this checks in keyword checks the types, the values inside the types, the array, which is an array. Return user input. If so, it breaks out of the loop. If not, then it prints this message back to the console. Please enter one of the following values, and it prints all the things in the array, all the appropriate answers which are in the types array. Next up, we have input validation for the task make purchases. It's a task that we've been assigned to do, and it'll make more sense as we go down below. So this function is called search array, and it accepts 3 parameters. One is the array in question. The second is the category index, and the third is the user input. So it utilizes a for loop. So for category in array. So if the category in interest is equal to the user input, then return true. If not, return false. Basically, it searches whether the input chosen exists within the array or not. It's very useful. This function here, the get price, this function searches the item array and returns the price of the selected item. So this is why we use the global item price, because we want to return this value, and it changes throughout the items. But we want to store it within, like, internally in this function. So for item in item info, if this conditional statement, if item 0, which is in this case the item ID, this is the category index. If the item ID is equal to the item ID that you want, that was inputted, then the item price, which is in the second index of the item info array, return item price. So it basically grabs the price of the selected item that you want. Next here we have the get discount function, which calculates the discount that the selected employee is entitled to. So we use the global discount because we want to return discount. We want to return this new value discount outside of the function. So for employee, we want to search for the specific employee in the employee's info array. And if the discount array is equal to, so if the discount ID that we're inputting, that we're searching for, the keyword, exists within the array, and this is an additional, right, I forgot to explain. Sorry. So for this calculation, there's two different employees types, and there's a manager and there's an hourly. Both types are different, and they're entitled to different amounts of discounts. The manager, as you can see here, so if the employee exists and if his type is manager, he's entitled to a discount, a base discount of 10% plus an additional 2% for how many years he's worked. However, it caps at 20%. So if the discount calculated here exceeds 20%, it's capped. We cap it here at 20%. However, and as for the hourly, if the discount ID, if the employee exists in the array of employee info and he is type hourly, he's entitled to a discount of 2% per year's worked. However, it caps out at 10%. So if the calculation here exceeds 10%, then it's capped. Once we calculate how much of a discount he's entitled to, we return the discount. We return the discount percentage. Next is the update total purchases function. For this function, it accepts 3 parameters: the discount ID, item discount, and the purchased cost. So again, we search in the employee info array for the individual employee. If the employee in question exists within the employee in the employee array, then we have to check if he's entitled for discounts, because the total amount of discounts he's allowed to receive is 20% off, $200 off an item, or items in general. They're only entitled to $200. So if the employee doesn't have 200 yet, then he can make the purchase. So we add it to the total that he already has. And on top of that, we put into the total, we fill out this other column category. This is for, I think, total employee purchases, how much he spent overall. In this conditional statement here, it shows if the employee, after making the purchase, if it exceeds $200, then we revoke the discount and we take it away. And we print to the console, employees exceeded the allowed amount of discounts, purchase failed. And then we exit it. We exit the loop here, the function here. We exit the function here. However, if everything's okay and this condition is never met, then we print success. The employee has purchased the item. Else, if this condition has been flat out not met altogether, if he's already exceeded $200, then we just simply print to the console, employee has exceeded the allowed discounts, purchase failed. Right. Now we'll go on to the main menu the main menu function. So this function here asks the users for input, and it directs the user to the desired task that he wants. So for here we have 5 choices. We have a while loop, while the choice must be 1 through 5. And here's the conditional statement, if it's the first choice, we call upon the create employee function, and after we create the employee, we ask the user, do you wish to go back to the main menu? Yes or no. We use the get valid type. We use the get valid type function as we discussed earlier. This is our prompt message, and this is the allocated amount of answers, just 2 answers, yes or no. If the user inputs yes, then we return back to the menu. We call upon the menu page again. It's a recursive function. And we ask for a option between 1 and 5 again. And this while loop makes sure that the choice is valid. Choice get valid, please enter your option. So this prompts the user to input a valid input. While choice is 1 to 5. While choice is less than 1. So if it's invalid, so if the choice is invalid, then we are continuously prompted to enter a valid one. Once we break out of this loop, once the condition is false, it then goes to the main menu. It's a recursive function. It calls upon the function again, and yeah, we go straight back to the if statement up here, choosing between choice 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you choose 5, it just simply breaks, and it prints out you successfully exited. All of them are basically numeric. They're very identical with one another. So choice 2, it directs you to the create item function, and that's a task in and of itself. So we create an item. Again, it prompts the user if he wants to go back to the main menu. Once that's done, it prompts back here. If yes, then it goes back to this top again. The first if statement, choose choice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. yada yada yada. Again, choice 3, make purchases. That's the task, the make purchases task. Task 4, all employee summary task. And yeah. All right, the create employee function. So we have it concealed in a while loop. Choice is Y. While choice is Y, then we'll continuously make employees. So we'll ask the employee for all these inputs. We want the employee ID. We use the get valid number function to make sure it's an integer. And also, oh, this one is the search array. So while search array employee info, that's the array that we want. We want to see, and the category is 0. That's the employee ID. That's where it's stored. And employee, and then the actual user input, which is employee ID. So this searches whether or not it exists or not. If the search comes out true and the employee ID exists, then we ask for another input. Employee ID already exists, please input another. This one we ask for the employee's name. We use the get valid input function. Here we use employee type, get valid type function. That, and this is our prompt message. This is the amount. These are the two accepted answers, inputs that we want. Manager and hourly. Employee years worked. This we ask for the get valid number. We want an input. We want an input value that is an integer. Employee total purchases, it's set to 0. Employee total discount set to 0. When you're making a new employee, they can't purchase things upon, just becoming, like being created. Employee discount number, we use the get valid number function to make sure that it's an integer and not null. Again, we use the search array function to make sure that there's no duplicate values. We put in the array, employee info array, category index 6, category index 6, and the employee discount number. That is the input of interest that we are checking. So again, if it comes out true and he exists, then we'll be prompted to ask the user, please input another. Right. Once all those inputs are validated and inputted into the system, then we can append these into our employee info array. Employee ID, employee name, employee type, employee years, employee total purchases, employee total discounts, and employee discount number. And then we print to the console basically a success. Choice, and then once all that's done, we prompt the user with another choice, get valid type. Do you wish to add another employee? The accepted values here are Y and N. Y for yes, N for no. If the user inputted not yes, then we leave. We exit the string. Sorry, we exit the function. Next function. Next task is the create item task. So while choice is Y, choice is equal Y. This while loop, while choice is Y, it continuously loops back all around until it's broken. So we prompt the user item ID, get valid number. This makes sure, again, this function makes sure that the prompt input value is numeric. Please enter an item number. Again, the search array function searches whether or not it exists. If it does, then this is printed back in the console. Please, it's already in use. Please input another. Item name, get valid input. Please enter the item name. Item cost, get valid number. Use that function. Please enter the item price. Once all these three are validated and good to go, we append it into the items info array. Item ID, item name, item cost. And we basically print about success back to the console. And then we get back to, once all of this is said and done, we ask the user, do you wish to add another item? Yes, no. If choice is not Y, then you exit the loop. Make purchases. Choice is Y, while choice is yes. All this will continuously repeat. So it prints out the items in stock for item and item info. Yeah, it prints this out. It prints the entire array out for item info. User input ID, get valid number. It wants a valid integer type. While not search array. So while it doesn't exist, please enter a valid item number. So this time it searches. It wants it to be not. It wants it to exist. If it doesn't exist, then it will continuously loop. User input discount number, get valid number. Please enter your employee number, discount number. While not, same thing. These lines of code basically calculates the dollar amount that the discount is. And then once we do that, we store it. We put it into the update total purchases, which basically appends these new values into the array, into the employee array. And then again, choice, get valid type. So choice is the conditional statement that makes us loop or not. So if it prompts the user, do you want to make another purchase? Yes or no. These are the accepted values. If it's not yes, then we successfully exit. And then this code, basically this option 4, all employee summary, it just prints out back to the console all the employees in the employee info array. And this is me calling the functions. So the menu page. Alright, so now that I've talked about the functions and explained them all, how about we start running the function. Let's run the program. So again, so you can see it's been called. Let's select an option. Let's create an employee. To employee ID, let's say accidentally put in a string value. It'll prompt me again to add appropriate numeric value. Okay, I'll label stuff 1. My name, I'll say it's Ryan. Employee type, I'll go hourly. Well, let's say I make a mistake again. Let's say, okay, so it prompts me again saying, look, it needs to be either one of these two values, manager or hourly. So I'll go for hourly for this time around. I'll say I worked for 7 years. Discount number, I'll say 111. That's my discount number. Yes, I'd like to add her. Employee ID 2. I'll use Reza for this time. I'll have him be a manager. Total years worked, I'll say 8 years. Let's go 222. No, I don't want to add another one. Do I want to go back to the main menu? Yes. I'll create an item. Let's say item number 10. Enter the item name. Let's say lamp. I want a lamp. $65. Yes, I'd like to add another one. Enter, let's say 11. Item number 11. Let's say table. I want a table. Price 500. No, I don't. Would I like to go back to the main menu? Yes. Alright, so let's make purchases. Okay, so it displays all the things on sale. I want to buy a lamp. Please enter your employee discount number. I think mine was. Ryan's was 111. Success! Employee has purchased item. Yes, I'll buy another thing. This time, I'll have Reza buy a table. Please enter employee discount number. Let's do, what was it again? 222. Nice. Yes, I'll do another purchase. I'll buy a I'll buy a table for myself. Ryan. Oh, whoops, that was a mistake. I'll put in time 111. Okay, no. I want to go back to the main menu and let's say show me a summary. So Reza has made a purchase of $400 in total, and total amount of discount was $100. He saved $100. As for me, since I'm hourly, I'm not a manager, I got $508, spent $508, and I only saved $56. Do I wish to go back to the main menu? No. I've exited my program. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this meets all the criteria that you've listed. Bye.